Welcome to the New York Weightlifting Podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things involving the sport of weightlifting, USA Weightlifting, and the New York State Weightlifting Organization. I'm joined here today with my co-host, Sara Soto, who is a New York WSO Weightlifting State Organization regional representative from New York City, and she's also on the board of directors for USA Weightlifting. I'm James McDermott, and I am the regional representative of the New York WSO for the Adirondack region, and I'm also the New York WSO board president. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with just a brief introduction on who we are and what we're trying to do, and then we're going to talk all about our favorite subject, weightlifting. So, Sara, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm super pumped because this is the inaugural episode of our podcast here for New York Weightlifting, and we're hopefully going to spread a lot of knowledge. We're going to shine a spotlight on clubs, athletes, the sport itself, events that we're hosting, and hopefully that helps our current membership in New York learn more about what we do, stay informed, and maybe even we'll get some new friends to join us in lifting barbells.
That'd be lovely.
It's a great thing. Before we dive into all these other topics we have, very important. At some point in the future, we might have a theme song for this podcast. And you and I are both big fans of wrestling. What if you were to pick one wrestling theme song for this podcast? What do you think it would be? What would it be?
Oh
I'm a
no.
huge wrestling theme song nerd. Like I'll just
They're
play it
great.
all.
I have a playlist of many, but I don't know. That's a hard one.
It
Why?
is.
What would you pick?
Well, all right. There's a lot of them. We could go the NWO because it's kind of like NWSL theme song. It's just music. I always like the black and white with the flickering, and they come out like this. Like I think that would be cool. Maybe for a more aggressive podcast, we go Stone Cold, the glass
Oh,
breaking.
that's my phone ring sound. So
Is it really?
yeah, that when my phone rings, you hear the glass break, and then that goes into it. And I'm like, oh, it's my phone.
That's awesome. We could also go the Rock theme song, like if you
It is a
smell
good
what the
one.
New York WSO is cooking, you know, other WSOs out there, I think that those would all work.
I
Well, if
love it.
anyone out there who is also a wrestling nerd like we are has a suggestion, we're all for it. But
Yes.
don't be surprised if you're listening to this and all of a sudden you hear one of those things and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, should I turn my phone down? Just...
Oh, that'd be a nice touch. So our first official topic is what is weightlifting, and this is can be a tough definition to form because those of us who are in the sport, we might say, all right, weightlifting is life, it's passion, it's mental toughness, it's all these things that we equate to the sport in our life, but at just a broad brush, a bare bone level. If you are listening to this podcast and you have no idea what weightlifting is, it's a barbell strength sport. And there's two lifts that are in contention in the sport, which you can find this sport in the local level, in your own community, at the national level, hosted by USA Weightlifting, or all the way up in the Olympics. If you're someone who's a fan of the Olympics and you watch that programming, you might see weightlifting. That's what it is. And there's two movements, the snatch, which is taking a barbell from the floor up overhead in one smooth, beautiful motion. And then a clean and jerk, which is bringing the barbell up to the shoulders in one motion and then up overhead in what's called the jerk. And I actually have some videos to share if I can figure out. So, all right, one thing that we will find out on this podcast is my struggles with screen share. Always, my screen share skills
It's
are
pretty
always lacking.
universal. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's like that.
So here we are sharing my screen. This is Olivia Reeves, who is a junior lifter in USA Weightlifting. She's on Team USA. And that is a snatch that she just did of 115 kilos at a 71 kilo body weight. And it was a junior world record. She made it look very, very, very easy. But that is a snatch. And if you're listening to just the audio of this, you can head over to USA Weightlifting's Instagram page and find videos of the snatch, or head on over to any kind of weightlifting style Instagram page or YouTube page to see the motion. So that's what it is. If we take a look, here is Hampton Morris celebrating right now. Caught the end of the video, but he's about to demonstrate a clean and jerk.
There's his very nervous father.
Oh, that is his father? Okay.
That's his father is his coach. Yes. Very awesome guy.
So there he
Great taste in
brings.
music.
Oh, all right. We should get him on, just talk about music. Oh, I love that photo of the coaches and his dad, and also the celebration. So this is he's 69 kilo body weight, lifting setting a junior and a senior clean and jerk American record of 178 kilos. That is a lot of weight. He makes it look very easy. There's our clean, bringing it up to the shoulders. And then to finish the movement, he brings it overhead for the jerk. So this is what weightlifting is. It is a sport. It's also a recreational activity for a lot of people. Most these days are typically introduced to it through CrossFit, unless they happen to find a weightlifting gym out there. Sarah, anything to add on what weightlifting is? Of course, we could spend an entire 3 hours talking about it.
Certainly. No, that's pretty well summed up. Which one's your favorite? What do you prefer, snatch or clean and jerk?
Oh, all right. I always have to go. All right, for better or worse, the snatch. It's I could say when things are going well, the snatch, and then the clean and jerk is always a little more reliable. But I have to say, the snatch is just more fun to do. There's no dark cloud looming of the clean and jerk, and I do it when you connect with it just right. Not many things feel the same. Out of any exercise that I've ever done, push-ups, pull-ups, back squats, deadlifts, bench press. Nothing feels quite like doing a snatch the correct way at a heavy weight. It's just very gratifying. How about you?
I completely agree. It is the most satisfying lift. And if I could just do a meet where it was just snatching, I'd be pretty happy.
Do you think there's something in the future in that on in our one of our sister sports, powerlifting, there are some competitions that allow you to just sign up for bench press, for example. You think that
Just
could ever
deadlifting.
happen? You think that
Um,
ever happens as
I don't
weightlifting?
see why not. I mean, it could be a fun thing. I mean, people love watching heavy clean and jerks, you know? I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite thing. I am like you, I like watching snatches, but I mean, I just like the technical precision that you need to like land that lift. So it's, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, heavy clean and jerks are super fun too, especially like at the Olympics. Like who doesn't love watching Lasha lift, right? So
Exactly. We'll have to get some Lasha videos on here, and with the competitive side of weightlifting, the sport, what is weightlifting? In a competition, you get 3 attempts to do your best lift on both of those exercises, snatch and clean jerk. There's referees watching you, and they're looking for little nuanced things in your technique that might say, yes, you got the lift, or no, you didn't get the lift. So there are standards to the sport, and we will definitely cover those in some time.
mhm.
If anyone wanted to know more about weightlifting, then my recommendation, outside of listening to this podcast over time or reaching out to a friend, would be to head over to USA Weightlifting's website. So this is your first best resource on getting involved in the sport and learning more. You can go onto this website, usaweightlifting.org, and you can select that first little members and clubs tab there, and you can find a club. You can figure out how to start a club if that's something you're interested in. You can go over there to become a member, look at the coaching directory, learn more about the WSOs. There's a lot that you can just right on this little tab here, learn and get more involved. And I think what people will find is that weightlifting is an inclusive community. You will find your weightlifting family, your strength club somewheres, and you just have to look for it. And you'll be surprised at how supportive the sport is to newcomers. I know sometimes that's a little scary getting started, but everybody wants to see you succeed, whether you're in the gym or at a competition. And if you have a coach with you, someone knowledgeable to guide you through that experience, then you're even well better off. All right, so let's talk about, Sarah, the New York WSO. So we're kind of going through our list here: weightlifting, USA Weightlifting, and also the New York WSO. USA Weightlifting is the parent company of the New York WSO. They govern the sport in the United States, setting the rules, setting the calendar, all those things, and running major national competitions. For the WSOs, there's us. So let me pull up our website here.
Yes, USA Weightlifting is what is technically referred to as the national governing body for weightlifting in this country, or an NGB for short, which if you are any sort of weightlifting or Olympic nerd, you will probably hear that. That's like USA Track and Field. I don't think USA Swimming is called USA Swimming. I think it's just called something else. Or no, maybe that's internationally. Anyway, but yeah, NGB.
Yeah, USA I want to say weightlifting, wrestling, track and field, like you said, all of those sports have some kind of NGB that's associated with it, and they just help to uphold the standards and rules and run competitions, and they're also your pathway to higher level competition on the international scene, which you know, it it may not look like it at first glance, but there are avenues for youth and junior, very young athletes to compete at the world level, even the Olympic level in our sport. And there's also opportunities for masters athletes to compete at very high international level as well. So there's a lot to do. It's a lifetime sport. You don't have to have lifted weights back when you were 12. You could start when you're 45. And we have a lot of people in our sport and in our organization that are in their, golden years, we'll say, myself included. I'm a young goldie. But we have people who
Same.
are in their 70s that are still doing this. And the beautiful thing about weightlifting is the sport is adjustable. We can bring the weight on the barbell up and down. We can make small incremental changes. Like, let's say if you have 10 pounds on that barbell, we can make it 11, if you're a pounds person, or we can make it from 20 kilos to 21 kilos. The emphasis that you'll find in our community is technique biased. And then we also focus on strength, which you have the technique, the strength will come in time. And that's why you want to have a good coach and a supportive team. But I think when people hear about a barbell sport, they can be a little intimidated. But I think you'll find that different from other sports, let's say if you're 35 and you want to pick up flag football, you might get hit. You're going to take cuts. You're going to hit the floor. All those things are variables that we can't control, but we can control in weightlifting what's on the bar and the impact on your body.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah,
more or less.
but we'll have to do an episode on being a master's athlete at some point, and we'll talk about fish oil and heating pads and all that stuff. So the New York WSO, we are a nonprofit organization, and we work at the grassroots level in the sport, and in our case, in New York State, to grow the sport and grow weightlifting for the bigger parent company of USA Weightlifting. So that's just in a nutshell what we do. We're trying to promote all things competition, inclusion, sponsoring, stimulating the interests of weightlifting, like it says here on my screen. And if you go to nywso.com, you can click the About tab and you can read more about what we are as an organization. And you can also scroll through and see how New York State is divided into 6 regions. I colored this myself. Not, no, I'm kidding. Uh, I
I
found
would
it
have
on Google.
believed you.
I found it on Google. Uh, but it is our 6 regions are the Adirondacks, Central Hudson Valley, Long Island, New York City, and Western New York. And each of those regions has a quote regional rep that it lives in that region and promotes the interest of the region, brings things that the board needs to know from out, let's say, out in Western New York. Hey, we got a lot of snow out here. You're like, we should know that when we're scheduling events, or whatever else might be pertinent to the region. And all the regional reps work together to have the interests at mind of our membership. We're trying to, run a state championships. We're trying to make the sport worthwhile and fun for everybody in our state and get athletes from our grassroots level into that national system. And who knows, maybe to the Olympics, coaches as well, not just athletes. We're in the interest of promoting clubs and coaches as well. So these are our regions. If you go to this website and on this page, you can see the counties that are in one region. So maybe you're like, I live in Schenectady. Does that mean I'm this or that? Well, this page will tell you what your who your regional rep is and also what region you fall under. I'll go to the next page, the board. So we have a board of directors. Like I mentioned, we have our 6 regional representatives. Here are our mug shots. Everybody looking good. We have myself, We have Frank Ford out from the central New York region. We have Joe Rod from Hudson Valley, Chris Smith from Long Island, Sarah, who we've already met, and Erica Queso from Western New York. In time, we will get all of them here on the podcast to interview them, find out more about them, and learn their passions of weightlifting. And we also have athlete representatives. And our athlete representatives are Alyssa Garrison, Brian DeGenero, and Michelle Woogan. They are from around the state. Alyssa is from the Adirondacks, Brian's from New York City, and Michelle is from Western New York. And they help to bring the athlete interest to the board, and they also help to work at meets and promote the interests of the sport and our community at board meetings. We all work together to make decisions. You know, there isn't it's not what's the word I want to say? It's a word to or it's not we're democracy, not what's the other one? Dictatorship.
Sure. Yes.
There we go. Yeah. See, I couldn't even think of the word because
I was like, Monopoly.
yeah, we kind of know, but we are kind of a monopoly. But so yeah, these are the peeps involved. These are the people that are making decisions. Maybe at some point this year we'll get nice little bios on the website too. But if you click the link, the region underneath each of these photos, that'll also bring up the individual's email address. So if you want to email Joe Rod and you don't know his email address, click click his name. And then if you want to find the Instagram page associated with the region, click the region title there. So you can find more information and get more involved that way, or reach out to people, because I realize we don't have it, point blank, what is the email address? It's all fancy with links. So that's our board. And then one other thing, since we're on the About tab, if you click the Meeting Minutes tab, then that will show you all of the things that we decide on. We meet once a month. At least we aim to meet once a month. We make decisions, we vote on things, and those are public and transparent on what's conducted in those meetings. And you can find links to the documents here. Like if I just click December under 2023, it'll bring up the minutes, which Sarah always takes the minutes at our meetings. She does a very good job.
Thank you.
And you can see what was discussed and what we're planning to do to grow the sport. Anything to add on that, Sarah?
No, it's very, very cut and dry. And I love that we added, because the meeting minutes used to only live on the USAW website. And then when they changed over, that got, hard to track down. I'm very glad we put that on our site. Makes it a lot easier. Everything's in one place.
Definitely. Now we have multiple places we can go back and forth to find information.
Yeah.
So now we know what now the New York WSO is. We have an idea of what USA Weightlifting is. They're the national governing body for the sport of weightlifting. And we've talked about what weightlifting is. Sarah, can you go through all the levels of that we're involved in? So right now we're down here at the grassroots level. And I would say one more level below us, since we're the organization, is the membership, the athletes, the clubs, the coaches. But there's USA Weightlifting above us, but it doesn't stop there. There's several more layers to this onion. So you can kind of give us like a broad view of everything involved with that?
Sure. So as I said, USA Weightlifting is the federation for USA weightlifting and all domestically. Above us, I would say the next tier is the Pan American Weightlifting Federation, which we are a part of, and that includes all countries from Canada all the way down to Chile, like the tip of South America, and we're all included in there. That, and then so that's like our regional, I guess you would say. Well, I think it has an actual name. I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But
Hemisphere?
no, it's like when we have because it's like there's like African championships later and Asian championships, and we have the Pan American weightlifting, but it's like they call it your continental. Sorry. That's it.
That was on the tip of my head. All right. Yeah.
So that's our continental governing body. And then even bigger and top of weightlifting for us is the IWF, the International Weightlifting Federation, and they deal with all weightlifting federations in the world. And then they ultimately answer to. And I mean, well, the goal is to always be in the Olympics, right? Like we are in the Summer Olympics. We have been forever. We almost we're out recently. We were out for 2028, but we are back in thanks to a
Back
lot of
in.
hard work from a lot of people in the International Weightlifting Federation. Uh, and USAW helped a lot with that, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, and then above them, we have to report to the international. Oh my gosh, I even forgot about the USOPC. Okay, yeah, so there's the International Olympic and Paralympic committee, and that those are the ones that make the biggest decisions of all for us in terms of weightlifting. Like they are the ones that ultimately allowed us to, get put back on the program for 2028 and hopefully beyond. Um, but yeah, and then of course there's also the US Olympic and Paralympic committee, and that is based also, I believe, yes, they're obviously in Colorado Springs. That is like Olympic City as it's referred to. And they deal with all the NGBs in domestically. So we, report to them too. So it's kind of like a two-tiered thing. Like there's just weightlifting and then there's Olympics even beyond that.
Yeah, there's a giant family tree that traces all the way back down, if we want to go down to the roots, our
Yes.
level.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't realize this when you're watching the Olympics. How did that person get there? Well, they had to start all the way back in their country, which has all these different federations and committees that govern the sport in their country. And then they have people boots on the ground that are running clubs and training athletes and coaches. And to get a kid that starts the sport, let's say, for example, when they're 12, all the way up to the Olympics when maybe they're 20, I don't know how old they are, and they're setting world records, there's a lot that goes into it. And it's a giant movement, and there are so many ways to be involved in this. There's tons of volunteering opportunities at the local level and then even higher. So maybe when people see a sport like this, they're like, I'm not an athlete. Well, one, let's find out, like find yourself a coach. But two, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. There's something that can be brought, fresh ideas and or a helping hand. So maybe you're someone that's like, what, I really love, setting up events and breaking down and moving wood, and I'm a hands-on person, and I like building podiums and stuff. We got a job for you. Or if you like the legalistic side of things and you want to know about bylaws and rules and all these things, maybe you serve on a board or a committee somewhere. If you're someone who likes to officiate, back in the day, you used to run up and down the volleyball court, blowing a whistle. Well, hey, we have referee chairs and we have other technical official jobs. So there's so much to this sport and so much to all sports and NGBs and governance that we need bodies, and there's a lot of work to be done, and you might have talents that you're not even aware of. So just, again, find a local club and let's find out type of a deal.
Yes, we definitely have one of the most, I mean, I'm told this everywhere I go. It's just we have one of the most like dedicated and supportive membership bases like ever, like just weightlifting in general. It's just like the people who do it, even if you aren't actually a lifter, maybe you're just a technical official, maybe you're just, but like we will sacrifice so much and care so much. So
It,
it's
it
nice to
always
be
comes
part of that.
down
Yeah.
to that four-letter word, care.
It's true.
Take that, USA Gymnastics. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. This is obviously a weightlifting number one scenario here. I do think it's cool to realize that it's not just the USA thing with USA Weightlifting. So many countries all around the world have their own NGB. There's I'm trying Canadian weightlifting. There's England weightlifting or British weightlifting. Which one?
British. It's
All
British.
right, British.
Yes.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
British. It's a common American mistake, probably. Someone right now listening over there in Great Britain is like, yep. Come on over here and lift. Let's find out. So yeah, there's just so many layers to it. It's super interesting, and we haven't even gotten into the lifts themselves. On You can just go down a rabbit hole of the little technical nuances. How do I get stronger? The science behind it. Like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
So I would encourage anyone that loves learning or wants to be involved. Those of us listening right now that are a part of the sport, we know. weightlifting means so much to us and we have been involved in it. But if you're someone out there and you're alone or you need an outlet and you didn't know about this thing called weightlifting, I'd encourage you to get into a gym. To bring up another sister sport, CrossFit. Yeah, I live in both worlds, so sorry for bringing up CrossFit for those who are easily offended by the word on a weightlifting podcast. But the definition of CrossFit is constantly varied functional movement executed at high intensities. What does that mean? I can tell you that at the grocery store down the street, but the most common practice is, why don't you come to the gym on Friday at 9 a.m. and I'll show you what CrossFit is. And I think if you want to know more about weightlifting, find a club. You can go on our website. There's a link there, right there on the About page. You can go on the USA Weightlifting's page as well. Find a club, find a coach, and say, hey, show me what this weightlifting thing is. And I think you will find that it's very addicting and you'll be hooked and you'll have a new passion and your family and friends will get sick and tired of hearing all about it. And that's just the world that we live in. And there's so many things that you can do outside of just lifting weights in the sport itself.
Indeed.
That's our weightlifting commercial right there. Our whole little thing. Sarah, anything else to add on the broad overview of weightlifting from, let's say, a global level right now?
No, not that would, I'll start going down a rabbit hole, like you said. So
Oh yeah. Well,
we're good for now.
Let's narrow down the focus just a little bit. In our country, we have USA Weightlifting, and there's kind of two branches under USA Weightlifting at the top level. There's office and there's board of directors. Can you just give us, because a lot of people that are listening right now that are involved in weightlifting may not know about this part of it. So can you just kind of give us a breakdown of our NGB?
Totally. That's really important. And that is not something that became very clear to me. I mean, you and I have had many conversations about this, but it's like, it did not become clear to me until I actually got elected to the board of directors. But yeah, there's USAW staff, and they are, there's only like, I'd say 15 of them. I think there's only 13 that actually are actually like technically on staff, and then they have some contractors. It's a very, very small office.
I just met a new person. Shout out to Adele.
Adele, yes. Adele is one of our new membership coordinators under Alex Love with Christina. Yes, good people. But yeah, so it's Matt. Oh my gosh. I'm just so used to calling him Matt all the time. I was like, what? But yeah, so that's our CEO, and he is the leader of that group of people. And when you have any problems at all, you should always send an email to the USAW general membership email. And then everybody at the office sees it. They will route the email appropriately to whoever needs to be the one that answers it. You don't
membership issue with your weightlifting meet, if you're a meet director, even just a question, like you could email them, be like, hey, I'm not involved in the sport. Tell me about this thing. Someone will get back to you.
Totally. And yeah, and pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I will say their response time is top notch. CrossFit response time a little less, but USA Weightlifting response time, it'll be probably by the end of the day or within the hour.
It's really good to hear.
Others maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah. And the staff, they deal with the day-to-day stuff, all of that. That's called like the operational matters. And so any specifics, anything should go to them. The board of directors, we are ultimately Matt's boss, and there's 12 of us. And we are in charge just of governance. And it's basically just making sure that the bylaws are always being followed, that our CEO has a very clear vision and a pathway for USA Weightlifting in general. And yeah, we just have to, but it's like bigger picture stuff. So it's like everybody more than half the board. There are literally only 2 members on the board that are independent directors. That means that they don't have any connections to weightlifting at all, other than just being on the board. They just bring their experience. Everybody else on the board, all of us, members that especially go to national meets know all of us. And so yeah, I mean, we may not have all of the answers, and we can't usually help you with the specific things that you want to be helped with, because we look at stuff from like a broader place. It's not the day to day, like, oh, I'm annoyed that, like, communication isn't good. Like, why is this happening? Like, we don't always have like that information to be able
Yeah.
to give you. So,
Yeah, because you guys aren't the boots on the ground that are doing the work. So when, like the board members will certainly be at national events, helping, volunteering, helping, or having putting input on decisions. But it's the office staff side of things under Matt, who's the CEO, who are like, let's put the platform here. Let's do this with the equipment, sponsorships, all those little things are office staff, not necessarily the board. And I do
yes,
see that getting conflated sometimes where maybe an unpopular decision is made and people like, what's this board doing? And it's like, well, that's not necessarily the board's purview. They'll
exactly.
have an input on it, but they also, the board, just like at our level, the WSO level, the USAW board has to let the office staff breathe a little bit and do the work. And the office staff and the board need to let the New York WSO board, us, our local boots on the ground, breathe a little bit and make decisions on our own. And that doesn't mean that we don't enforce things that comes directly from the top, where maybe it's a bylaws thing. There's a lot of times at our New York State championships where we'll enforce a rule or we'll inform someone of the standard and they're like, wow, why are you doing this to me? It's like, well, this is the national standard. So we have to abide by that. We've signed on to do that. So sometimes it gets confusing and you can easily point a finger at like, it's Sara Soto who's doing all this stuff. It's like, it's not. It's a collective of people, and that's the same all the way up to the global level. Like the IWF tells USA Weightlifting, this is what's going to happen now. A perfect example would be the new weigh-in rule, where you have to weigh in your singlet, and the singlet counts as part of your body weight. USAW didn't decide that, and James McDermott didn't decide that at the local level. That came from the world standard, and we are tasked, and it's our responsibility to uphold the standard.
Yep, exactly. Well put.
The best thing you can do is ask questions. You
Yeah.
know, find your local rep and say, hey, what's going on with this? Be nice about it. We're all volunteers. And then our job will be to answer your question. Or if we don't have the answer, we will find someone who can answer that question for you. And that's just the basic, best practice right there. It's like, let us help you. If you don't ask questions and you're not vocal, there's nothing wrong with being vocal. Like voice your opinion. That's why we're here. This board wants to know your complaints and your praises are nice too, here and there,
Wouldn't
say,
mind some of those. Yeah.
yeah, those are nice too. Maybe message your local WSO rep and say, "Hey, man, you're doing a good job," or whoever it may be. But let us know your concerns, and then we value those thoughts and concerns, and we will do our best to help you. And we are doing our best in our own daily lives outside of our work schedules to make this all happen. No one at our level is getting paid to do this. We are all 100% volunteers. So
Same at the board of directors level. People don't appreciate that either. I'm like, this is even more volunteer work that I'm doing on top of what I'm already, doing and all wearing all my other hats, and it's a lot. We're all volunteers. Yeah.
exactly. And then if you are someone who's maybe largely frustrated with something, uh, help. Like get involved. You just like us, you have to be willing to sacrifice some of your time. If you don't like the way barbells are set up in the back room of a national meet, get on a committee. Show up and help set up. There's set up and breakdown at those national events. Oftentimes, when people show up at an event, they don't realize how did this all magically get here. Backbreaking labor is how it magically got there. A lot of logistics. And sometimes when you get all that stuff together, you have to make decisions that are going to work. You get all that equipment there and you're like, man, all right, this didn't quite pan out the way we thought. We did the measurements, but now we have to have the plates facing away from the platform than facing forward for a safety issue. And that's not necessarily something that Matt, the CEO, is going to get on his phone and text every member about. He's just going to make the decision there because he has a million other things he has to do. So
Yes.
have some empathy for your volunteers and lend a helping hand. You have no idea how much help is needed. and
That's
get
how I got my
involved.
start. Yeah, exactly. That's how I got my start. I just was like, there's some things I'm not happy about, but instead of just like complaining about it, I'm gonna, go be an active part of trying to like help these points get across because I was hearing it from a lot of people around me. And I was like, well, it's stupid to just sit there and complain, you got to go out there and do something about it.
Yeah, yeah, and we all get better together when we do that.
Yes.
Awesome. Let's move on now to some resources. So if you are a member of the New York WSO, share my screen here. I always like to announce when I'm sharing my screen. Sharing my screen. Talk to myself. So we do have this website. We'll come back to the website here in a second. But as far as resources in the New York WSO, once a month, you as a member should expect to get an email, which is a newsletter that informs you of stuff that's going on around the state. If for some reason you don't get that newsletter, check your spam. And two, reach out to me and let me know, or reach out to one of your regional reps or athlete reps and let them know, and we'll try to find a way to get you included on that. Sometimes in the USA website that handles the newsletters, there's little things like a box gets unchecked to not receive correspondence. Sometimes you absentmindedly do that. I unsubscribe from things in a flurry in my emails all the time, especially during Black Friday time and the holidays. I'm getting emails from places I didn't even know I was signed up to get an email from. So stay in the loop with the newsletter. We also communicate things through our Instagram pages. So if you go onto Instagram and type in at New York Weightlifting, you can find that, and there's updates there. There's celebration of lifts there. You can also watch this podcast, and we'll do our best to keep you informed. And you can also use the board as a way of being updated and kept in the loop. Reach out to your local ref in New York City. If you're in New York City and you're not sure about something, again, a great resource is going to be Sarah or Brian. They're right there in New York City. You could probably see them at a local meet and talk to them about things. Don't be afraid to talk to us in person. Sometimes we have tired faces, you know, uh, but we want to talk to you. So, and sometimes we look busy, but maybe other times we're just looking busy because we're focused on things. So don't be afraid to approach one of us and ask a question, or ask your coach to ask a question if you're nervous about it. It's kind of like, when you ask your friend, hey, find out if such and such likes me. Well, all right, ask your coach to give them a note, yes or no. If we want to go that route. But there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So talk to us again. And as far as other resources, local clubs. So if you're not in the sport, find a local club and whatnot. So then there's also the website. So before I dive into the website, Sarah, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's great though. I mean, all of us, especially I know for a fact from our board, everybody here, like it's again, we care a lot. So that was always my theme song, that Faith No More, we care a lot. That's like I always joke, that's my theme song for life about weightlifting anyway. But yeah, so I mean, we are all super approachable. I mean, even the past members of the board, like everybody is totally willing to answer. We love answering your questions. Like we love when you're interested. So yes, please talk to us.
We love nothing more than to talk about this stuff.
Yes,
That's why we're doing a podcast right now. So we can
exactly.
so we can talk about this stuff more. I did have a flash of remember the old Care Bears show?
Yes.
That theme song being the theme song for the podcast. Well, see if we can find that. That'd be amazing, right? Oh, we can do little t-shirts that have the logo for the regions, or the WSO logo on our stomachs.
Oh my
And when we
God,
all
I
when
love
we all
it.
lock arms and we do the Care Bear stare, the weightlifting bros.
Let's
Uh,
do that.
are they still around? Is the Care Bear still a thing?
I don't think so. I don't think so. My Little Pony got to come back, but
All
no
right.
Care Bears. Yeah.
That's what's wrong with the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to bring back the Care Bears. Uh, so if you go to our website, nywso.com, it's updated fairly regularly, and you can find a lot of stuff here. We have our home screen here featuring the one and only Juliana Riotto, star lifter, Team USA from New York. Down at the bottom, there's a little scroller, of course, for our social media. So if maybe you're trying to figure out how do I find the social media stuff, just go right here. It's on every page of the website. You can find the Facebook fan page through here. You can also find a private Facebook group, which there is one of those out there. And uh, posts from social media are auto shared to both of those places to keep everybody in the loop because some people might be on the Facebook group only, but not on the fan page, not on the Instagram, not on email. Everybody has their own way of finding things. You can also find a link to USA Weightlifting's website right here by clicking the logo. And we've already gone through our about page. For the news, we just started this last year. This is essentially our blog. So things that are sent out in the newsletter, big articles, they're also double posted here. So you can find them and there's a history of it. You can find results for competitions on how athletes from New York did at, let's say, the American Open or the national championships. You can find out about major accomplishments that members of our community have done, such as Kurt Roderick here, who just recently became an IWF Category 1 technical official. And we'll talk about what that means in a future episode. And Sara Soto also within the last couple months achieved the same status. We should make note of that. And then just stuff, awesome things that are going on in our community. So if you want to be in the know, definitely check out and subscribe to our blog. Very important, events. So if you click this first tab here, you can find the events in terms of competitions and educational opportunities in the New York WSO. You got to go to USA Weightlifting's website to find out about all the events in all the states and the national level. But for just New York, if you're looking for a meet, hey, shout out to Brian DeGennaro right there, snatching, warming up at the 2021 New York State Championships. And oh, hey, I'm in that photo.
And Miguel, right? And Kurt.
Yeah, look. Oh no, that's not Miguel.
I can't need glasses.
Right there. Yeah, I just realized I'm in that photo there, and then
Yeah.
so is Kurt. Yeah, cool. I've looked at this photo a million times and never saw myself in it. But you can find the name of the event, the date, the address, who the meet director is, their email, their phone number. Maybe you want to come down here and you see, shameless plug, the New York City Regional and Open hosted by one Sara Soto. You got her email right here. You got her phone number. Maybe you shoot a text, "Hey Sara, I'm free that day. I can't lift, but I would love to help."
Yep.
Sara dreams for those text messages and emails, and so do all the other meet directors. Or hey, you have a question about the competition. You can click the WSO logo. I'll do it right now, and that will take you to how you enter the competition. Some events use the USA Weightlifting Bars website to enter the competition. Others use different things like Eventbrite, for example. But this is how you can find more information. You can sign up for it. You can read the entry form, which we can do a whole episode on reading entry forms and the importance of that to see what the ins and outs of the meet are. Who's getting awards, what awards are on the table, what categories are being contested, what's the refund policy, is a often fun question. So that's how you can learn more about a weightlifting meet. And then if you go down, it's the same thing for coaching courses. And these are USA Weightlifting sanctioned coaching courses. So you're not going to find like the James McDermott Intro to Weightlifting course on here. That's a private thing, but you will find USA Weightlifting coaching courses here. And it's the same thing. Click the logo. You can find the address. You can find the dates, who the organizer is, and ask questions. So this is
Is
a
that a
very,
thing? Are you taking registration for that?
oh no, it's not a thing. Not a thing. That's not a shameless plug. Uh, maybe someday. I've actually, no, I have done one of those before. Then you can click and you can find information on the New York State Championships 2024 coming up. We have our entry form on here and USA Weightlifting's website. So, and we will be doing a whole episode on this, breaking it down line by line and hopefully answering a lot of questions. So I highly encourage you to read that. You can find meet results. So we try our best to get the results in PDF form or Excel form and put them here. That way, let's say you compete at Sara's meet, New York City Regional, and you just want to know where everybody else placed or even where you placed. Maybe you didn't get a medal, but you were fourth place. That's important to know. And that's an achievement all in itself. If there were 20 athletes and you took fourth place, those things aren't announced at a competition all the time. So if you want to know, you can find it out here. You can see what everybody lifted, or you can like do the game of like, all right, that's what they lifted last year. What do I got to lift? And then try to beat them. You can be a little strategic about it. And this information can also be found on the Weightlifting Bars website. We'll find that in a future episode. I won't click all of them, but you have a link to the state champions, who has won the state championship for each category and weight class throughout the years, state and state meet records, and also a technical officials directory. Maybe you're a meet director and you want to help, or you need help and you need to find email addresses for all the referees in the state. I will click this one. This is an important one. We'll let that change over. So you can find out more about what it is involved, to be a volunteer. And then, of course, there's a directory broken down by level, and you can find the email addresses. So if maybe you're running a meet for the first time, you know who you should ask for advice. Some of these people, these category 1 people, email Sarah, email Kurt, email Joe T, Jerry Dunn, and the rest, and say, hey, what about this rule, or what should I do? And you'll find a quick response, and they'll help you out. And then if we go down, we have category 2s, we have national level referees, we have the ways that you can go through to achieve those levels. And then we have 156 local referees, that you can email to try to get help and support for your event. So definitely take advantage of that and take a look at that. Support. So we, as the New York WSO, try to put out opportunities for growth for our athletes. We have a couple of scholarships that we have out there, such as the Youth and Junior Scholarship, where you can sign up, and if you're going to the national championships, the WSO will allot a certain amount of funds to help you pay for your ticket. And we also have coaching development scholarships that you can take advantage of if you want to get involved and become a coach and learn more about being a coach and train athletes. We have opportunities here where you can get that sponsored for yourself by either us or USA Weightlifting. This is a thing that's done in a partnership with USA Weightlifting. And I'm not going to go into super detail about either one because we're going to talk about that in another show. So this is just introductory on where to find things. USAW does have a bunch of scholarship opportunities that every member should be aware of, such as athlete wellness, different scholarship funds for coaches and athletes to participate in meets, or even just to be a technical official. That does cost money, as Sarah knows all too well. To be involved in the sport, you're going to have some skin in the game. You're going to have to pay for travel, room and board, so USA Lifting has ways to help out with that. History, athlete rankings, outstanding athlete awards, our Hall of Fame, our in memoriam page, and also more of what we were before we were a WSO. We were a local weightlifting community, which is an LWC. You can find all that information here on awards and historical data. And then finally, there's the contact page, which, oh, hey, there's Erica and Tess. Look at that.
Yeah.
I don't visit this page often, but you can fill out this form and ask a question or seek out advice or guidance, and it'll come directly to it'll come to my email address, and then I'll filter you out to where we need to go or try my best to answer your question. So that's just a little run through of the website. We have a lot going on here. We're going to break each one down in more detail as we go through these podcast episodes. Sarah, anything to add on just resources that a New York WSO member has available at their fingertips?
You've covered it all. This website has everything. So that's really great. I mean, we have all bases covered. Like you said, like I'm not on Facebook personally. Actually weightlifting, a weightlifting community on Facebook is what chased me away from Facebook ultimately.
Oh no.
But yeah, not on there anymore. So I'm very happy to have all of these other places to find that information.
Awesome. Well, in terms of just overall goals, like I mentioned all the way at the top of the show, we're going to use this podcast as a platform to talk to our community and talk to anybody who's interested in being a part of our community. You can expect episodes where we break down some of those things from our website or from USA Weightlifting's website talk about qualifying procedures, talk about attending a national meet or a local meet, how to run a meet, being a technical official. There's a lot of things that we're going to talk about and try to get this information out there that is currently in written form and bring it into more of a conversational space because people learn in different ways. You can also expect athlete interviews, coach interviews, club director interviews, maybe some weightlifting star interviews from the greater weightlifting USA weightlifting community. We're going to do all of that stuff so that we can, promote the sport and make everyone as passionate about it as we are, and also, very importantly, educate people on all the things that we do. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. That's episode one. I
Yes.
wish there was a little thing I could press where it was like balloons and celebrations. I don't have that capabilities yet. Uh,
Yet. Exactly.
yet. Sarah, any parting words, and where can people follow you specifically with your own social media that we may not have touched on already?
I mean, my uh since I've become the New York City rep, I run New York NYC underscore weightlifting on Instagram. And actually that's like a collective that we've had with a bunch of coaches and club owners from New York City. Tag us in there if you want to spread the word around about New York City things. My personal I have Sara Soto rep, all is one word, on Instagram. Those are Instagram's primarily like how I tend to communicate stuff with everybody. But yeah, I mean, I run the Murder of Crows meets. I'm always around as many local meets as I possibly can. I always say, come say hi. Like I love meeting people. I really like putting faces to names that I've heard about and just meeting everybody in the community. And I mean, I'll be up in Albany helping you out in April. Excited to
Yep.
see excited to see all my Adirondack friends. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of these. Like this was a cool kickstart, and I'm excited to get into more like detailed stuff. It's gonna be
Oh
fun.
yeah.
I can't wait to interview you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Someone's gonna have to do that. So again, I'm James McDermott, and I am the Adirondack Weightlifting Regional Rep. You can find our community page at Adirondack Weightlifting on Instagram. I also run the New York Weightlifting Instagram page, which that's for the WSO, so you can check that out. Feel free to DM me on either one of those places. I do have a James A. McDermott on Instagram, but really, probably that's the one place I share weightlifting the least. You're gonna find a lot of random stuff, a lot of Godzilla content on that page. So you're not gonna find a lot of weightlifting stuff on there. But if you want to follow me, or if you need a way to directly contact me, and you don't want to go through those other avenues, that will certainly work. My email is on the WSO page as well. I'm sure my phone number is out there too. So more than happy to help. If you need help at a weightlifting meet, let me know in advance, and I'll do anything I can. If I have to throw some plates in my car and drive it out to your gym, we'll do that. Or I'll help you find someone to help accomplish that, because that's also another tough thing, is finding equipment sometimes. So more than happy to help, all the things. And thank you so much for listening, and we will see you again very shortly. Bye, Sarah. I did like my pause for like the end, and then I forgot to say bye, Sarah. So bye, Sarah. All right. How to stop recording now. Oh man, this is a mess.